Still ballin'. I'm still ballin'. Yeah. Still ballin'. I'm still ballin'.
Huntsville League basketball offers a ton of different programming. We've continued to expand. We offer training, private sessions, small group, team sessions, camps, shooting clinics, coach mentor programs, motivational speaking, fall league, winter league, AAU for boys and girls. We're the 5th biggest program in the state of Ohio. We've also sent players D1, D2, D3, and junior college. Our staple right now is failure's no option, and we believe that we train Ohio's beast. What we're trying to teach our kids is to give maximum effort in everything that you do. Go hard or go home. One of the big things about Saban I think is super important for kids to know is he's a young man that is, when you look at it now, that appears to be naturally gifted, and there is some natural gift there, but a lot of his skill set came from hard work. Saban is now a freshman in college, and in his senior year, he was able to accomplish some amazing things in high school. First team all-conference, player of the year, all-Ohio, scored 1,000 points, and the list goes on and on and on. He was able to get him a college scholarship. If I was giving a story to anybody out there listening, if I was looking at Sabian Doolittle's story, what I get from Sabian Doolittle is he's a young man that continues to go after his dreams despite anything that he faces.
The Huntsville Elite program has had a great impact on my life. It's helped me grow as a person and closer to God.
The Huntsville program has been a big impact on me. I've been training since 7th grade, and it's not only improved my basketball skills, but it's improved like my morals and how close I am with God and just how I am as an all-around person.
And they might be fighting through stuff, they might be going through things, and I'll watch this kid go pound for pound, work in the summer, 90, 100 degrees, because they have a desire to accomplish a goal. And when I see this kid motivated, driven, that refuses to give up, that I saw 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or a year ago that didn't believe in themselves, and they're learning that because they trust God. And the Bible talks about how faith without works is dead. And they start to believe in themselves and believe in God, and they added work to that, and they start to accomplish their goals. I would then be reminded that not only does this work for them, but it works for me. Me being a part of the Huntsman program has challenged me to become better every single day I step in the gym, because these kids are counting on me to not only give godly advice, but to live it.
All right, welcome to HETV. We're at episode 21. Get Coach Trey, and I'm Coach Eli. Thank you for tuning in for this episode. We want to thank our sponsors for continuing to allow us to bring this broadcast to you for free. So thank you very much. And actually, Coach, I was approached last week about a business within our community that wants to be a sponsor because they love what we're doing here.
It's awesome.
So thank you for your interest, and we'll be plugging you in here soon as we get that finalize that sponsorship. We also continue to have that 100 for 100. Go to unionstationlogancounty.org. Again, we're trying to get the industrial ceiling fans here for Union Station. So thank you for those donors who continue to support what we're trying to do here at Union Station and through the Huntsman Fall League, Winter League, and the AAU. All right, so if you're thinking of AAU signups are going on right now at huntsmanelite.com. And again, if you're thinking about it, I guarantee you're going to enjoy it. It is a family environment. The kids absolutely love it. Of course, we had Gabby. We had Grace on here a few weeks ago. They talked about the family environment and just their experience that they had off the court more than they do on the court. You won't regret signing up to try out. You'll enjoy it, guaranteed. All right, we have a very special guest. We have the Elisha Carter. Welcome, Elisha.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Of course, I'm Coach Eli and Coach Trey. Here at this Coach's Corner, we just want to give her as a highlight player for this week, episode 21. And Elisha Carter is from Calvary Christian. She is an 11th grader, so she's a junior. And some of her accolades, we can't list them all because we'll be here another 15, 20 minutes just reading what she has accomplished through her basketball career. But she has scored over 2,000 points. She hit that mark on this past Monday, so that's a great accomplishment.
Yes.
Not many basketball players anywhere are able to score 2,000 points, but she's done it, and she's only a junior. So no pressure moving forward scoring. But she also, I am her father, but I'm very proud of her having a 4.0 GPA. So it's not only she's putting a lot of work on the basketball court, but also in the academics. She was a player of the year in the conference of the OVCC as a sophomore last year, and she was also first team in the conference, but she has had that accolade ever since she's been playing at the varsity level. So many accomplishments that Elisha has, and she's very shy. As you can see, she probably feels a little uncomfortable, and I'll be honest with you, it's a little uncomfortable for me to kind of brag about Elisha, but she is a player that a lot of teams fear, and they have to adjust their game to what she brings to the table when they play Calvary Christian. So before we begin, we have rapid fire questions. And these are the questions that we ask any athlete that has been here. And so, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, what is your favorite dessert?
Cherry cheesecake.
Cherry cheesecake. Okay. Favorite player, and it doesn't have to be basketball, but I think we know this one now.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Who's that?
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I'm just playing with you. Now, a few years ago, Trey, and you probably know this, not many people were talking about him.
No, they weren't.
But Elisha was talking about him before he was making noise, right, Elisha? Yeah.
Not a bandwagon.
Yeah, not a bad bandwagon. All right. So, what's your greatest non-basketball accomplishment?
I made second team all-conference in volleyball sophomore year.
Sophomore
There
year?
you go.
Okay. All right. Your favorite memory of AAU?
Probably winning the Memorial Classic for 2 years in a row.
Awesome.
2 years in a row.
Awesome.
There you
I
go.
was
Yeah.
expecting you to say something else. You had me nervous there, Elisha.
The toughest opponent you have faced?
Like in Calvary or?
Your choice.
I'm going to think Ethan.
Oh. I don't know any of the people's names that we play in AAU.
Okay. Well, any team that you thought was very tough
I remember playing the line with Sparks in 6th grade, and they were pretty tough.
in the 6th grade. Yeah. All right. So, what's the favorite thing you have experienced playing basketball?
Winning.
There you go.
Just winning in general, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
What is your career aspirations?
To set the scoring record so high that nobody else at Calvary will ever touch it.
Nice.
There you go.
There you go. I like it.
Okay. How about non-basketball career aspirations?
Be successful, stable life.
Okay. Doing what?
Hopefully being an athletic trainer.
Okay.
Wants to be an athletic trainer. Okay. All right. So we're going to go some questions that Coach Trey has put together. Kind of took me out of the picture, which I'm very thankful for. But Trey, I will go ahead and let you ask the first question.
Okay. Elisha, I used to call her Elisha with confidence for many years. And one day we were all together talking, and I heard her mother say, Elisha. It's like, why is she saying Elisha's name all weird? Then it dawned on me. I've been the person saying her name weird, and no one has ever corrected me. So what a polite, respectful family. Her name is Elisha, not Elisha, for those who have been in the same boat I've been in for quite some time, or maybe I'm the only person in that boat. Elisha, won't you tell us a little bit about you? I know when I first met you, you were very shy. Now you're kind of shy, right? But tell us a little about you. I mean, how did you fall in love with the game of basketball?
Well, I started playing basketball when I was in 1st grade. I played with Upward, which is a small Christian league that we played over at the First Church of God. And I played there until 4th grade, and then in 5th grade we went to Bell Fountain, and I played in their Tri-County League, which was, I think we played games every Sunday and had some practices throughout the week. And then when I was in 6th grade, we made a transition from Bell Fountain to Calvary. And I started playing there, and that's when I really started to fall in love with the game, because the girls on the team there did a really good job of making sure that I felt welcome it was just a really fun experience, and so that's how I fell in love.
That's awesome. Now that's an amazing piece of information, because I'm going to kind of teach, and then we're going to go to the next point. So here's a young lady, Coach, your daughter, that has scored 2,000 points. But the reason that we're sitting here is because she was in a gym with other players that made her feel comfortable, which is called culture. To coaches that listen to to the Coaches Corner, which I know there are a ton of high school and college coaches that listen to this, and to players and parents, we can never lose sight of any kid that's in the gym. The encouragement, the laughter, the smiles. We have no idea who could be the next 2,000 point scorer.
Absolutely.
So I think it's awesome to just note that because you were in a situation that made you feel comfortable, that allowed you to blossom and then do something amazing. Now, with that being said, you just scored 2,000 points this week. Tell us a little bit about that, and I'm not talking about the day, I'm talking about, can you talk about the behind the scenes? How does that happen? I mean, do you just, did it happen on accident, or, what's the Elisha Carter regiment? What do? Do you pick up the ball once a week, once a month?
Well, during the off season, I know we have open gyms for Calvary twice a week, and then there's trainings that we do once or twice a week, depending on the week, how busy. So I do that every off season, and then during the season, I try to get one training in a week. It's hard sometimes with all the homework.
Right.
But yeah, just always trying to work hard, and even getting up early sometimes, shooting around.
And I know you're talking about recent, but you've been working on your game since 5th grade. Is that when you first started training?
Yeah.
All right. And then before that, you probably were in the gym with Dad, maybe, working? Yeah. Dad, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, as you can tell, Alicia's a little shy. She doesn't really like to brag about herself, so we just encourage you to relax and enjoy this opportunity that you have. But Elisha, it actually, and I'll go even back again, I'm the father, so I kind of have a lot of knowledge in this. Of course, Liz and I, Liz is the mother.
His wife?
Yeah, my wife too. Yeah, we don't want to mention that. No, yeah. And we have to start doing a sermon here real quick. No, whoever find of a wife, find of a good thing, and Liz is a very good thing. Keeps me in gear. But we did foster care when we were, first in our marriage, and one of the kids that we brought to our home loved basketball, and so we put actually a basketball hoop outside for him just to play. Then Elisha, I think, at that time started to gain a little interest of seeing her dad outside shooting around, even with the foster child that we had. Then even at that young of age, she was handling the ball really well.
Wow.
And so we thought, well, Upward, is something that is in our community. Why don't we try that? We put her in, and she was actually, and this is no disrespect, but she was one of the better athletes there at the first grade level. And was like, oh, she's really talented. Then, the Lord always works in mysterious ways. And so, I was able to coach her through those years. Then you came to the door, what was it, 5 or 6 years ago, here to Union Station as we took over. And you're like, hey, I trained some basketball. I'm like, wow, okay. And so that's when we started our relationship. And we said, well, Elisha, might want to participate in that. And we talked to Elisha, and she said that she would like to. Then that kind of the history from that point on, she worked absolutely hard on her game. She would be in the gym early in the morning, because when we first took over, no attendants were here at Union Station, so the gym was always free. She was here almost 20 hours a day, and she was kind of bored. And when we said, well, go in the gym, and she would be dribbling, shooting, and just, it seems like that was kind of her safe place while she was here, because it was kind of nerve-wracking for her to do those things here at Union Station. And so it kind of developed from that. And with you, and I think that the fire ignited her because you would challenge her dribbling outside of, or do it on her own, dribbling with two hands. And I know there was one time that you posted something about what is it? Walk the dog.
The walk the dog challenge.
Walk the dog challenge.
Yeah.
And Elisha was like, "I'm going to beat that." And she was in the gym hour after hour just walking the dog. And I think at one time she hit like 400 in a row walking the dog. And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And so I saw that work ethic in her at a very young age, and I attribute it to what you have brought to the table too.
That's awesome. And Elisha, I think you remember, what was the number? Was it 532 or?
No, I don't.
Oh, it was something insane. Walk the dogs in a row. So I would consider you to be an elite guard, and we just talked about that. What is an elite guard? That is the cream of the crop, a top player. Being an elite guard in a Christian league can be tough. Would you agree? Because a lot of people don't respect the league. How does that motivate you, or how does that inspire you to push you to want to work harder?
It honestly fires me up because I don't think a lot of people really understand that there are some good athletes that come from Christian schools. Just because it's a smaller pool of people to choose from doesn't mean that they're not great athletes. It's just they're normal people. I mean, some of them aren't very good, but then there are some who are really good on teams that I honestly think could beat some of these public schools. So I think and for me, that's something that I kind of struggled with for a little bit, because I would listen to people and what they thought about my easy league and how the competition wasn't that great in their opinion. And I struggled with that because I started to believe what they were saying. But then as I got older, I realized that it doesn't matter what other people think. It matters what you think, because there are always going to be people who are going to try to look down on you, whether that be because of your race, your size, or your faith. So what's important is what you think, because if you think that you're not great, then you're not going to be great. So that's just something that I've tried to do.
I think that's awesome. And I think, you participating in AAU, what that basically does is that puts you in a situation where now that kind of excuse of you not competing against high-level athletes is thrown out the window, because you're playing against the cream of the crop. Because in our AAU program, we've bumped up every year our competition level, and we're playing a very competitive schedule now, and you still perform at a high level even there. And so you are, in my opinion, a player that will play at a high level, at the college level. You're going to do big things. We've kind of touched on AAU. What has been your experience in AAU in general? I mean, why don't you share with us how AAU has impacted you and impacted your game?
AAU has definitely impacted my game. Just playing against the higher competition and seeing how girls can play at high levels, it's been really inspiring and really pushed me to want to be like that. And even outside of basketball with AAU program, it's just like a big family. It's great traveling to all these places and playing these games on all these different college courts. But what's even better than that is all the team bonding events that we do. Like, we go out to eat as a team after most games. We do some end of the year team bonding stuff and hanging out in hotel rooms and swimming. And so all that's really fun. And it's really special to be a part of a program that is such a family.
So, in a nutshell, how do you feel like the Huntsman program in general has impacted you?
I think it's safe to say that I would not be the person that I am today without the Huntsman program.
Wow.
Basketball-wise, not even close. But even outside of that, when it comes to academics, I remember I was training in maybe 7th grade, and I saw some of the high schoolers had on a shirt that had like the Huntsman Elite 4.0 GPA, hashtag bigger than basketball. And I thought that was so cool, and that's what really to start working harder in the classroom, because I really wanted those shirts. and I got one.
So I got to bring the shirts back. I got to bring them back.
So again, we talk about sponsors. Now think about it. If Trey has 100 athletes in the program and 70 of them get a 4.0, you know how much that is. So if you're a sponsor out there that really enjoy athletes working on their academics, please contact Trey, because I didn't even know that, Trey.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. So I think you have to bring those shirts back.
I got to bring them back.
Got to bring them back.
I'm bringing the shirts back. The shirts are coming back regardless. I'm going to trust God for the provision. The shirts are back, Elisha. If that is what inspired you to get a 4.0 GPA, I'm bringing the shirts back. It's worth it. So our core values are?
God, family, toughness, and hard work.
And how has that impacted you?
I think it's cool being in a program that has core values like that, and especially having God as number one. I think that's really cool because he's the one who gave us our abilities in the first place. So I think it's important that we do what we can to glorify him with the abilities that he's given us. And not a lot of programs really have that as like their first core value, so I think that's really cool about the Huntsman program.
That's awesome. Well, we've talked about the Huntsman program, and obviously this is HETV, whoop, whoop, but we also want to talk about your school, and then we're going to go into some of our questions since you're here. We'd like to use it with our questions, too. We've got some hot topics to talk about, and a sad one as well. So you play at Calvary Christian, which I think your father, who's the head coach, has done an amazing job. And you guys have an amazing culture there. You guys have fun. You win a lot. And you've won so much now that I feel like for the people especially that are in the Christian League, you guys are a powerhouse. And you've been a powerhouse for 5 years?
I would say this is our fifth senior year, or fifth varsity season.
Mm-hmm.
So
4 years?
4 of the 5 years.
Yep. You've been a powerhouse.
We've been a powerhouse.
You've been a powerhouse. Point that this is a compliment is I know when you guys first got here, there was just some improvement that needed to be done, and so there were some things that were implemented. The training was offered, and several kids were attending, and that changed the whole scope of things. Your dad had a vision to, create a positive, godly, and not that it wasn't godly, but to continue that trend going on. And so now the reputation has been a strong, godly, winning tradition for so long that some people don't even remember that Calvary didn't always used to win. Mm-hmm. And that's a great thing. So with that segue, how is it playing for your dad?
I mean, it has its ups and downs.
Okay, let's talk about the downs. Just give us two.
Separating dad from coach.
Any stories? There's got to be a good one.
Well, he always picks on me. I'm always the one that he picks on whenever we're in the team huddles or whatever.
Like, what's he do? Like,
say we're doing a drill or whatever, and I miss a layup, and he just goes off. He's like, you can't do that. Just little stuff like that.
Right. So you're the stand. All right. And then what's it like? Like, what do you really enjoy about your dad coaching you?
We get to talk about the games a lot and just really see what each other's thinking and then implement that onto the court. And it's cool because he's always there and he gets to witness all the stuff that we do on the court, and it's fun.
That's awesome. Now, we talked about the Huntsman program and all that, but your parents are awesome. What's the biggest compliment that you feel like you could give your parents that you felt like they've done or given to you? Like, if you had an opportunity to share, and obviously we're going to talk about Kobe Bryant here pretty soon, and for me, that just showed me that we never know what tomorrow brings. If you could say something to dad and to mom, what would you say?
Thank you for everything, even all the little stuff. It's appreciated, and I love you guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we're gonna go ahead now. Coach, did you have anything?
Well, it's you're talking about Calvary Christian and the what the perception of the competitiveness that is in the Christian League. It was interesting that we were on the radio interview about 3 weeks ago, and the person that was interviewing Elisha, myself, and our other two captains asked the question of, is Christian basketball the same as regular OSHA basketball? And it was very hard for me to come up with a positive response to that. But it's the same basketball.
Right.
It's the same height of the rim. It's really competitive.
Right.
It is. And some of the teams that we face in the Christian League will beat a lot of the OSHA schools. Plain and simple.
Right.
We, as Calvary Christian, would beat a lot of the public schools. We've played some public schools this year, and right now we're undefeated against those public schools. And that has been the trend of every season that we had the fortunate opportunity to play public schools. We beat them. And I broke down because our local media doesn't even really recognize Calvary Christian of our athletes of being like all players in the area. And I wish that would change. However, I broke down some stats for Elisha, and at the time she was averaging 28 points a game versus those public schools.
Wow.
And to me, I didn't even know that. But, even this past weekend, she played in OSHA school and she scored 30 points.
Oh, my goodness.
And those sometimes gets overlooked, and I don't understand that. But we're going to continue. I know she's going to continue to plug away. And we would love to play more public schools.
Right.
So if you're an athletic director or something, we would love to play you just to show that, we are talented. And it is a culture thing, and it is because we train with you during the off season, April, May, June, and July. We do trainings twice a week, and that's why our players are getting so better because we are putting in the work in the off season. And many schools, when we go to games and we bring 18 kids into the gym, people are like, how in the world do you do that? We have at least 90% of Calvary Christian females in each class, because we are a small school, that play basketball.
Wow. That's amazing.
Not many schools could ever say that. But going back to Elisha is she's humble, but she is a dangerous player on the court. And even through AAU, she's either leading the team in scoring, and I know basketball is more than scoring, but you also have to score to win the game too. She's been either leading or second in points with very talented group of kids that are playing. You're talking about kids that are first team all district, second team all Ohio, and her statistics sometimes are better than those individuals. And again, I hate to brag and stuff, but there's times that she needs to get the recognition that she deserves.
Absolutely, and it's coming. I mean, the recognition is definitely coming. Elisha, I do have a question here for you before we go into our topics of discussion. My last question is, what advice would you give someone that wants to accomplish something big? You have accomplished something that not many people, not in the state of Ohio, in the nation, will accomplish. Scoring 1,000 points in high school is amazing. Scoring 2,000 points is almost unheard of, and you are on track to be a 2,800 to 3,000 point career scorer. That is outstanding. That's amazing. And I love that you have a humbleness, but I can see this slight killer instinct coming out in you that's been really groomed this year. But I love that, which I define as a humble beast, right? I mean, I'm a respect guy, but when we step between the lines, I want to destroy you, right? I want to see that, especially this year in AAU, right? Because we're going after some throats. But what advice would you give someone that wants to accomplish something big in anything?
I would say work hard, stay humble, make good decisions, and ignore the haters, and success will chase you.
Amen. Preach, sister. We've done that twice. I got to get you a hallelujah. So that's all I got. Elisha, anything? We've done this with Grace. We've also done it with Gabby and several other people. But is there anything that you would like to say to your Calvary teammates?
I love you guys. Thank you for being awesome. Let's get state this year.
Awesome, awesome. We love it. And then how about your AAU family?
You're the real ones.
What does that mean? You're the real one.
Hey,
Yeah,
listen, that's I'm gonna go with. You're the real ones. Yes.
Since we have Elisha here, we are going to go to our submitted questions. And so, Elisha, of course, you've watched this Coach's Corner, so you'll have about a minute, 30 seconds to answer the question. Coach Trey is going to get the timer up. So I'll ask the question. Coach Trey can give his insight, then maybe you. Then, if you don't go over, if Trey doesn't go over, I'll submit my input on that scenario, the questions that's been submitted. Okay with that?
Yep.
All right. So there was an unfortunate situation that happened, I think it was last weekend, somewhere around there, that there was a parent at a game at Graham during, I think, Dayton Metro Winter League, that I guess there was an altercation and a parent wasn't too happy with an official and ended up headbutting the official. So, Coach, what's your thoughts on that?
That was a joke, but it's really not funny. We've been talking about this topic for quite some time before we started recording, and I've had several conversations with several people. And one of the things that Eli mentioned is, I believe, and I agree with this, I think it's the responsibility, and of course we can't predict what's going to happen, but I think it's the responsibility of other parents in the crowd to try to help de-escalate situations like that. It's fifth grade basketball. Referees are going to make mistakes. Some referees just aren't going to be good. Life goes on. We're supposed to be role models. At the junior high and elementary level, the primary purpose is supposed to be development. We're supposed to teach kids how to play the game the right way, teach them how to be great leaders, and teach them how to be role models. So for me, it's simple. I don't have to talk long about it. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. All right, Alicia, what's your thoughts?
I think as parents, you're supposed to be supporting your kids, and doing that definitely does not. I mean, could you imagine being that kid?
Right,
Yeah,
that would be
like,
embarrassing.
Oh,
Yeah, that's-
man.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. And, I think we talked about it a little bit last week, Coach's Corner, and it's amazing that, how we talked about that it happened.
Right.
An unfortunate incident. I almost wonder myself of how the officials were handling a game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what the reports are, but I heard that the game was maybe a 20-point advantage to one team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was even the parent that got upset.
Mm-hmm.
And as we talked about, sometimes officials let things go when there's such a disadvantage on the court.
Mm-hmm.
During leagues, unfortunately, we experienced this during AAU,
Mm-hmm.
officials really aren't there they are to maintain the game, but really they're supposed to just keep the time
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that, you only have an hour set aside for this one game. You have to get it in within that hour.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you're going to be there all night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when there's a 20-point advantage, officials might not call the fouls.
Right.
Now, if it was getting to the point where kids were getting hurt, it is really the coach's responsibility to advocate for their players.
Right.
And so it is unacceptable for any parent to get involved. And of course, I don't know how that Metro League organizes their Winter League, but hopefully in the future, none of those things will happen ever again.
Absolutely. And I think, like even in our AAU program, I've made it clear it's just not acceptable to address officials.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, we have to just take responsibility over the areas that we can control. And not trying to be rude, but you and I talked about this last week. There is a shortage in officials. Now, if I'm interested in being an official and I hear that officials are being headbutted, I'm probably not going to officiate now. And so with that being said, it's bigger than the game.
It is.
Yeah,
what are you teaching? And again, just like Elisha said, and of course we never really thought about what does that player or the kid feels about her dad, or never going to be to a game again.
Right.
I mean, that's devastating. So, the next question, and Elisha, we're going to go to your realm first. Okay, you all right with that? All right. How would you define a great coach?
Ooh.
Coach that's always supportive and has the best interest for his players. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, Coach, go ahead.
For me, I just think a great coach is someone that has the ability to not just teach kids how to be great in their sport, but is someone that has the kids' best interests, but also teaches life lessons. And for me personally, leads you to God. I think that's an element that's there. And then obviously knows their craft.
Yes, absolutely. And from my perspective, has to be a great motivator. Doesn't mean you have to get speeches, but really on a personal level, know their athletes, know what pushes them to be successful or triggers them to do their best. You talked about Kelsey Funderburg last week. We had her on the phone, and you said you didn't really have to. The way to motivate her was just to challenge her. You can't get this done in a week.
Right.
Then she was motivated enough to do that. So you as coaches, you have to be observant to see what those triggers are so you can accomplish greater feats for the athletes that they never thought was possible.
That's awesome.
That's what I think a great coach is. And plus what everybody else said. I totally agree. All right, so then we're going to flip it, Coach, and we'll go ahead and hand it to you first. What do coaches look for in players?
Well, I always say this. I personally like two things, and there's probably more than two things, but my two things are being coachable and giving maximum effort. So being coachable means you're able to be coached, you're able to be taught. Simply, you hear and do. Means you try, and you give 100%. And so within those things, obviously, you got to have a good attitude. You have to be a great leader. But if you are doing what the coaches are asking you to do, and you're giving your best effort, and I feel like you're going to be an amazing player.
Okay. Elisha, we might want to coach one of these days. So, and maybe even a teammate. So what do you look in to as teammates, or if you were coaching, what would you look in for good players?
I'd say, like Coach Trey said, coachability and just being willing to do whatever the team needs you to do. If on a given night your shot's not falling, just pick it up on defense. Just stuff like that.
Okay. And there was a lady that popped into my head, Coach, and I hope it's okay to give her a shout out, but Lainey Wilhelm from Mechanicsburg. She is a player that she would run through a wall for anybody, especially her teammates. There have been many times on the AAU court when she was within the Huntsman program, but she's always within the family, that there was some players that might have been more physical than what she would have liked to her teammates. She would get on the court and fight for her teammates and make sure that that player knew that she wasn't appreciative of that type of aggression that that player displayed on her teammates. And so it's about fighting for one another, but not only fighting for one another as your teammates, but you're going to believe in what your coaches is saying. And like you're saying, we through the Huntsman program, there's 4 core values, which are, again, Elisha?
God, family, toughness, and hard work.
And if you are a player that hears that, okay, this is what is set for me, I'm going to honor those 4 core values and do whatever I can to please my coach in those 4 areas. So it goes to coachability, but willing to work hard for a team goal. Absolutely. So there was a great accomplishment that happened this past week, and it was Kobe Bryant, and we're going to talk a little bit about him more in detail, but it was LeBron surpassing Kobe Bryant for a 3rd time in the NBA in scoring. What an accomplishment for LeBron James. So, Coach, before we get your thoughts on that, we're going to play a brief video that I do believe it was from LeBron himself and what his appreciation or the mentorship that Kobe had on his life.
Kobe Bryant to me is one of my favorite role models.
When he first came into the league, he used to call me and bend my ear for advice.
Kobe guarding LeBron. James on Bryant.
It gets to a point where you be like, I didn't think I could get better today until Now you got to guard Kobe Bryant.
Hey, watch the rip! Watch the rip!
Somebody that you could be around all the time.
When he and I are around each other, we're always talking, always kind of laughing.
He just trying to dunk on me, Craig. Oh, no. He just trying to dunk on me.
I think it really went to another level when we played on the Olympic team together in 08.
Oh, you like my look?
Got that Kobe Bryant look going.
It's more like a big brother relationship. It kind of always has been.
He looks at me like his younger brother for sure. And that's pretty cool, man.
When he first came on board, I said, listen, you are now family now. You're part of this tradition. So if there's anything you need, just let me know.
Welcome me here with open arms. Just to have that support, from one of the greatest Lakers to ever play, it was just special for me.
To be linked with the greats, that means a lot to me. Because I grew up idolizing Michael, idolizing Kobe, idolizing these guys.
All right, Coach, what's your thoughts on that video?
What an amazing video that LeBron had talking about Kobe Bryant being an outstanding role model to him. To me, when I watch that video, I think sometimes it's easy for us to overlook the tens of thousands of hours invested in somebody working to accomplish something as amazing as that. And we're talking about Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest players ever to play the game, who specialized and was dominant in many areas in the game of basketball, but definitely in the area of scoring. And when you think of LeBron James, he is sometimes criticized for not being as aggressive as Kobe Bryant was offensively. And so for him to be able to accomplish that, I think that's an amazing feat. And I think it's amazing to watch somebody to accomplish something like that.
And I agree with you, Coach. Sometimes we minimize what players have done for the history of the game. And, of course, Kobe Bryant was just phenomenal. Somebody, of course, you had Michael Jordan, of course, when I was growing up, loved watching him. Then, of course, when he retired, it was Kobe Bryant. And then, really, in my opinion, is now LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Love him or hate him. I know there's some people that might not truly appreciate the greatness that he is, but to put, like you said, as many hours as he has in the game of basketball, to be on the top 3 now ever in the game of basketball in terms of scoring, what a feat, and kudos to you, LeBron. All right, Elisha, so your thoughts on that?
I think it's extremely impressive. And for the kids, I know he grew up watching Kobe. There are some little boys growing up watching him, hoping one day that that'll be them. So it's really inspiring what he's been doing, and good job.
It's awesome. I think it's amazing that Elisha has the point of view of the kids.
Yeah.
Because I keep forgetting that.
Yeah.
And LeBron leads the league in assists right now.
Yeah.
That's what's amazing.
Yeah.
The assist leader is now the 3rd all-time leading scorer.
Yeah, and then, of course, I was looking at stats for Kobe Bryant, his time within L.A. First in points, first in three-point field goals, first in steals, first in games played, and second in assists.
Wow.
So, people always say, well, he ball hogged this. He's second in assists in L.A. all time. And, of course, L.A., they always win championships. Well, not recently.
No.
Just he's an LA fan, so I was able to throw a little shade. But speaking of Kobe Bryant, as most of the world knows, that just an unfortunate incident happened this past Sunday where he perished in in a helicopter accident, and with all the reports that have been submitted that he was also with a daughter, and so a 13-year-old daughter, and so our hearts and of course prayers are with his family. And of course many fans out there love Kobe Bryant and his attitude that he brought to the court, but it also hits a little bit more personally with you, Coach. You want to go ahead and put your thoughts to this?
Yeah, as you were talking, I just thought, I know there's going to be a lot of tributes, and for me, I guess the question would just be, the statement first would be, we obviously are going to be praying at the end of our show for the Bryant family. We are definitely sad to hear what has happened. And the question that popped in my head is, what did Kobe Bryant mean to me? And so if that was the question I was answering, Elisha talked about it with LeBron. Kobe Bryant was somebody that, as I was growing up, I looked up to. And when I grew up, Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were that guy. Those were the three guys in the league that kind of ran the league. After they kind of moved on, the next person to carry the torch was Kobe Bryant. And so Kobe Bryant fell in the same category as those guys. You either loved him or you hated him, but you respected him as a basketball player. And for 20 years, he was kind of the face of basketball. And honestly, I saw he passed away at age 41. When I saw that he had passed away, I thought, this can't be true. And so for me, heart was broken. My son had sent me a text, and he said he couldn't breathe. And so to be able to live your life, in a fashion that you excel at what you do, that, when you transition from this tent into your earthly tent, and to be able to impact people in such a way, I think that's commendable. And I think for me, at the end of the day, he represented hard work. That's one thing you can never, debate, whether you felt he was the greatest to play or not, that's always going to be up in the air. But what we can say is, if my kids, thinking from a parental standpoint, live their life working as hard as he did at basketball in every area of their life, their relationship with God, in basketball, I'd be proud of them. And I feel like, I'm sad to hear not just he passed away, but his daughter as well. It's horrific and it's tragic, and it's a day I'll probably never forget in my life.
Yes. Well, since we're, talking about Kobe Bryant and the family, we're going to go ahead and pray now. And before we go any further with the broadcast. So can we go ahead and do that, Elisha, since you're here? All right, so let's go ahead and pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we're so very thankful for the life that we have. And as we know that sometimes we don't recognize that life can end just as quick as it has began. And so our prayers are with Kobe Bryant and his family through the toughness of what they are experiencing at this moment. Of course, we hope and pray that Kobe had a relationship with you, and we know if he did that he's up with you right now, and what a greater place to be but to be with you by your side. But when you love much, you also hurt much, and we know that Kobe Bryant and his family are hurting right now, and many fans in this world are hurting right now and not understanding what is going on. But you could provide those answers, and I hope those people that are struggling right now will seek your face to get them through this, because you know that you love us all, and through that love you can pull us through anything, and that's in your great word, dear Lord. Even though the situation may not look good right this moment, you'll work it out for everyone's good, for those who believe in you. And so we believe in you, dear Lord, and we know that it's in your hands, and you'll guide everything as long as we seek your face. So be with that family, and also if there's anybody else that is watching this broadcast that are struggling in any way, we're praying for them. We're praying for them to come out of depression. We pray for them that are fighting any type of illness, that are fighting any type of confusion that's going on in their brains right now, dear Lord, because we know that the enemy is always out there to kill, steal, and destroy us and keep us away from you, dear Lord, and we don't want that to happen to anybody. And if anybody's out there struggling with knowing who you are, we hope that they will get on their knees right now and pray, and they'll pray for their forgiveness of sins and asking you to come into their lives, dear Lord. And we know once they do that, they'll be in the kingdom forever. So we're thankful for your love, and we're thankful for this broadcast. Continue to watch over Elisha as she's moving forward with her athletic career and also her academic career. And we're just very thankful for you. In your great name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, we're at the highlight section of this week, and thank you so much for those that are submitting your information. Continue to do so. Again, you can look at Trey, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. However it is that you submit information to us, do so we can continue to highlight your players. So we're going to start with the junior high boys. And you have Bellefontain's Jacob Sawyer. He had 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Then a teammate of his, or at least the same school, C.J. Wilson, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 blocks, and 3 steals. Wow, a complete game from CJ. And he's been on here multiple times. So continue the great work, CJ. And now we're going to transition to the high school boys. And we got West Jeff's Gabe Jones.
Yeah, the monster, the football monster.
10 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Then
coming up is the man himself. Easy E is what I call him. Ethan Carter, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, and 5 dimes. I see you, Big E, dropping him out there.
There's one game this past weekend. He played back-to-back Friday and Saturday. He had 3 threes in the first quarter.
Oh, nice.
Just launched them. Good
Nice.
job, Ethan.
There you go, E.
Then Catholic Central's.
Yes, we've got which I call the Galuch brothers. The new Splash brothers are in town.
So Ian Galush
Yes.
had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals.
Mm-hmm.
Then Fairbanks, Braylon Green.
Mm-hmm.
Double. 13 points, 13 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 3 steals. Then Ben Logan's Devontae.
Yes.
Had 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Great job, Devontae. Then again, you're talking about the Galuch brothers, but
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
19 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Great job there, gentlemen. Then Mechanicsburg's Kyle Smith, 25 points. But I think you want to highlight what he's averaging per game.
Yes, he's averaging 13 points per game, 6 rebounds, and shooting 45% from the 3-ball area.
That's almost 50%. Do you understand how great that is? That means half of his 3-point shots are going in.
Mm-hmm.
That is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a great asset to have on the team.
Yes, he played AAU for us, so outstanding kid.
All right, then the junior high girls, Urbana's Liza Forzen. She played a couple games this past week, and she had in one game 23 points, 7 rebounds, then followed up with a double, 19 points and 13 rebounds. Great job, Liza, and she's from Urbana. Then now we're going to the high school girls realm, and Mallory Mullen from Catholic Central. She is a monster.
Animal.
She's a sophomore. Then also she's a track phenomenon,
Yes.
right? She won the state title
Yes.
last year. Was it high jump or long jump?
I'm not really
One
sure.
of those two, but again, as a freshman,
Yes.
winning a state competition. So, but she's also an animal on the basketball court. So she's averaging 14 points and 12 rebounds, averaging a double per game. Also, she is leading the league in the OHC in field goal percentage. She's second in rebounds and second in block shots. So she is just a beast on the court. Great job, Mallory.
Yes.
Keep up the great work. Then a lady from Marysville, Madison Sloan.
Yes.
Maddie, great job to see you on here, Maddie. 15 points, 11 rebounds, and that is a
Double.
And she had 2 assists. Great job, Maddie. Then Darcy from London had 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. Darcy Mitchell is just a beast. Savannah Pavoni from Ben Logan, she had 17 points and 6 rebounds in one game last week. Great job, Savannah. Then another Marysville lady that we absolutely, I love her very much. All these girls we adore very much. But Tinley, of course, plays with Elisha. Of course, she was just on here. And I usually call them of course, you got the Splash Brothers from the Warriors. I call them the Splash Sisters. But she had 17 points, 6 steals, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists.
Good job, JT.
Then Tamron Brinkman, she, averaging a double-double.
She's averaging a double-double.
So, well, we go from there. She had 19 points and 10 rebounds, which is a
Double-double.
Great job, Tamron. Keep up the great work. Then the lady that we just had on here, my daughter, she's just been having a phenomenal season, and she had played 2 games this past weekend. She had 30 points one game and 32 points the other game. Then on top of that, she had 7 steals in both of those games too. So
Cookie snatcher.
she is just
Getting buckets.
She is on a mission. So congratulations, Elisha, on her 2,000th point, and keep up the great work on the court. So that concludes the highlight players for this week. Continue to send your information in. Again, Coach Trey, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, you know how to do it. Continue to send that information in. So that concludes it for this week.
At Huntsman Elite, We understand it's bigger than basketball. Our core values are God, family, toughness, and hard work. Our program scripture, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to give you a hope and a future. Producing Ohio's top athletes. At Huntsman Elite, we only build beasts.